Good day, my dear students. Welcome to Lesson 1 of OMTQM. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please subscribe now. Please watch my videos and comment down after watching. So in this video, I will be discussing our Lesson 1, which is the introduction about OMTQM. So I will be having series of video for our lesson number 1. For lesson number 1, we are targeting to attain the following objectives or learning outcome. First one, know the basic concepts in production and operations management. You will have knowledge in basic functions within the business organization. You can understand the production system and its classification. Enumerate the objectives of production and operations management. You could able to distinguish between manufacturing and service operation. You will have also an overview of total quality management and understanding of definition of quality and other related terms to TQM. You will know briefly the concepts advocated by quality gurus and have perspective of quality and evolution of quality. Before I start with my discussion, I would like you to reflect on this. My students, look around you. You can see tangible things around you. What can you see? In the morning, after drinking your coffee or milk, have you ever asked yourself, what if the manufacturers of those goods shut down? Then after having your breakfast, you decided to brush your teeth. Anumang brand ng toothpaste ang ginagamit mo? Naisip mo na ba, what if tumigil yung mga manufacturers ng toothpaste na yan na mag-produce ng mga toothpaste? Our cellphone is our best friend. Partner natin ang cellphone natin and gadgets natin, lalo na sa panahon ngayon. Can you live without your cellphone? Can you imagine our world without those things around us? Can you imagine what will happen to you once wala na yung mga products na yan na ginagamit natin ngayon? Or magsara na, mag-shutdown na, tumigil na yung mga manufacturing companies na yan. I will be glad to hear some of your answers on those questions during our online class. So reflect on these statements. For us to understand why we have Operations Management TQM as part of our course or as part of our curriculum, we have to understand the basic functions within the business organization. So I know that you are familiar with these three. So of course we have the function of finance, the function of operations, and the function of marketing. So no matter how big or how small a business is, no matter what form of business organization is that, kahit na sole siya, sole proprietorship siya, partnership siya, or corporation siya, kung ang type of business niya is service, trading business, or manufacturing business, finance business, or investment business, these three basic functions will be present on those business organizations, whether private or public. One function is finance. And when we talk about finance, of course, we're talking about money, we're talking about funds, we're talking about financial resources. So activities that has something to do with procurement or looking for sources of fund, utilization or uses or allocation of funds, and determining whether the funds are properly used, that will be under the area of finance. Another function is marketing. Of course, it will not be enough that we have our finished products with us or we have the services to be provided. So those products or services must be converted into cash. or those products and services must reach our customers. So there should be different activities that must be undertaken by the company to motivate or to persuade the customers or the people to buy the product or to avail the services. So those functions will be vested under the function of marketing. So of course, when we talk about marketing, so we could do promotion, advertising, personal selling. It involves also public relations. It involves also publicity. So lahat ng mga activities na pwede natin gawin in order to motivate our customers to buy our product will fall under the marketing function. Another function is operations, which is our subject matter for this semester. So if we talk about the different activities directly related to producing goods or providing services, that means we're talking about the area or the function of operations. No one is superior among the functions within the business organization because all of them are important. And as you can see on my diagram, the circles overlap with one another because that means they are all important. They need coordination. They need one another in order for the business to survive. For us to understand our subject matter, we have to understand the concept of production and the concept of operations. I've mentioned in my class orientation that all BSBA curriculum offered production management. The concentration of that subject, of course, was about the different concepts applicable for manufacturing firms or producers of tangible goods. But those concepts are also being applied to different service firms. So that's the reason why we have operations or operations management. If we will be using the term production management, the term production management is limited to manufacturing firms. Unlike operations management, so nowadays, no, which is more acceptable, operations management na ang ginagamit, I want to give emphasis on this. Operations management is applicable for manufacturing firms and also for service firms. Kaya huwag kayong malilito, no? Kaya kahit ang business mo ay manufacturing firm, pwede natin gamitin yung term na operations. Kung service yan, gamit din natin yung term na operations. Pero kapag production, limited tayo for a manufacturing firm. Take note of this, that when we talk about the concept of operations, operations in an organization can be categorized into manufacturing and service operations. So since it is clear to us now that when we talk about operations, we may be talking about a manufacturing firm or a service firm or any other type of business organization. So regardless of what type and what form of business organization is that, there will always be the presence of an operating system. So in case your business is production or manufacturing firm, so you can call it as a production system. Pero since we're talking about operations management, and again, sabi nga natin kanina, applicable na yung term na operations for manufacturing and service business. So let us just use the word operations or operating system. So when we talk about operation system, looking at this schematic diagram, it is composed of ITO. So when we talk about I, it means input or inputs. Then T represents the transformation or the process, and O represents the output. Then we have the feedback or our control mechanism, which is being applied on the input, and passes through the transformation and up to the output. If we will expound the previous diagram, it will look like this one. So we have the inputs, the transformation process or the conversion process, then we have the outputs. Of course, when we talk about outputs, it refers to our finished product. So alin lang naman sa dalawa, products yan or tangible goods or services. Then for inputs, so we have our men, materials, machines, information, capital. So yung mga resources na ginamit natin, yan yung mga part ng inputs natin. And then the procedures we are using in manufacturing or processing our product, that will fall under the transformation process. So it involves the product design, the process planning, production control and maintenance for us to have our final output. Okay, then on the process or looking at our operating system from the input, from the transformation process and up to the output. So there should be continuous monitoring. So we have to see to it that our inventory is in control. We are applying the appropriate quality control as well. And also we are considering the cost on the various areas of our operating system. I know that you know how to discern a product from a service. Of course, products are tangible, services are intangible and perishable. You can stock or you can store products, while services, you have to keep the operating or the productive system open to avail the services. In products, there's minimal contact with ultimate consumer. So look at the things around you. Lahat naman yan na manufacture, di ba? Kahit wala ka. Diba? Your presence is not needed during its production. And then for services, it needs the presence, it needs the instruction, diba? Kailangan natin ng contact with our customers. Then for products, so we can serve a larger market. So our product can reach other countries. While for services, lalo na if we are not applying electronic commerce now, mahihirapan tayong mag-provide ng services around the globe. So for products, we could produce in large quantities or in large units, so we can take advantage of economies of scale. So because of mass production, mas makakatipid tayo. That will be for products. Okay, but for services, so iba-iba yung service na kailangan ng bawat tao. So that means we could just serve a small units na usually, no, nandito lang on our local market. Let us now move to the definitions of operations management. So the first definition that I have here incorporates the different functions of management, but again, the application of these functions will be on the area of operations, on the area which is involved in creating the product or providing the services. So when we talk about planning, so these are activities that establishes a course of action and guide future decision making. And when we talk about planning, the operations manager defines the objectives for the operations, for the subsystem of the organization, and he has to define also the different policies and procedures for achieving the objectives. And then we have the implementation. What we had planned must be carried out or put into action. And then when we talk about controlling, so in controlling, we have to assure that actual performance is in accordance with the planned performance or with our objective or target. And then in case there are discrepancies between our actual performance and planned performance, we have to make a decision on it. So this definition basically incorporates the different functions of management. The second definition of operations management talks about the organizing function of management. So again, our point of concentration is the area of operations. So when we talk about bringing together the resources of the organization, we're talking about organizing. So activities that establishes a structure of task and authority, so that is under organizing. And we have to bring the different resources, manpower, material, money, in order to operate our business. And we have to keep it on our mind that in operations management or as an operations manager, the resources of the organizations are restricted or limited. Kasi kung iisipin natin na unlimited yung mga resources natin na yan, hindi na natin yan i-manage. Kung one to sawa ang gamit ng mga resources na yan, wala na tayong dahilan para i-manage sila. So kahit na multi-million ang company natin, napakalaki ng company natin, operations manager or management look at the resources as a restricted one. Another definition of operations management is that operations management is responsible for the management of production and operating system. So as you can see, it's just a very simple and brief definition of operations management. But if we're going to analyze it, we have to go back to what an operation or operating system is or production system is. So I have here again our diagram of our operating system. So try to imagine this. So as an operations manager or in operations management, this is what we are managing. So we are in charge with the inputs, we are in charge with the transformation, and we are in charge with the outputs and of course the feedback mechanisms. So if you're going to tell me, Ma'am, ang dali naman yan, inputs, transformation, outputs. So looking at it, if we're just going to identify what inputs are, what transformation is, what outputs are, madali lang talaga. If you have a defined product, madali mong ma-identify ang input, ang transformation, at ang output niyan. But if you're going to dig deeper on it, kung ang business natin, let us say, ay nagmamanufacture tayo ng mga bottled water or distilled water or mga mineral water, sabihin natin, tubig lang naman yan eh. Pero it will not be as easy as that. So, lahat ng mga may kinalaman or every activities no, na may kinalaman sa inputs, sa process niyan. So, sa process, so yung mga major and minor process, tayo ang kailangang mag-define, mag-design yan. So, sa output, tayo din ang in charge sa quality na gusto nating i-set for our product. So, talking about inputs, so ano ba yung mga skills na kailangan natin for our men? What are the different materials that we need? So, saan tayo kukuha ng mga supplies niyan? The combinations of machines that we need, the information, and the capital. At hindi pa tayo matatapos dyan because we have to monitor what is really happening in our operating system. Kaya medyo mabigat talaga ang area ng operations. So comparing it with marketing and comparing it with finance and personnel or human resource, mas mabigat ang responsibility pagdating sa area ng operations. Next part will be the twin objectives of operations management, which is divided into the customer service objective and resource utilization objective. So that means we have to satisfy the needs or wants of our customers, and also we have to satisfy or attain the objectives or goals of the organization by properly utilizing our resources. So we have to provide goods or services to our customers at the right quality, at the right quantity, at the right cost, and at the right time by effectively and efficiently using our resources. Here are the scope of operations management, and we will discuss them one by one because actually these are the topics covered by operations management. We'll move on to the operations management function. So the function of operations management will be carried out, of course, through our operations manager. So these functions will be vested on the hands of our operations manager. So I do hope that someday some of you will become operations or production manager. So if we'll look at the function of an operations manager, we have to look back on the definition of operations management. So looking at our diagram for operating system. So as an operations manager, again, you will be in charge with this, the inputs, the transformation, and outputs. You will plan, you will implement, you will control the activities, you will make decisions that has something to do with the operating system. So matters about the inputs, the transformation, the outputs, and the feedback mechanism, in charge dyan ang ating operations manager. Okay, then as an operations manager, we have the ultimate responsibility in the creation of goods and services. So our function will vary depending on the size of the organization. So of course, a simple business or small business will require only simple or few tasks on the part of an operations manager. But you can just imagine how it will be very taxing if you are an operations manager of San Miguel Corporation, Asia Brewery, Universal Robina Corporation, wherein they are offering variety of products. So napakahirap sa part ng operations manager. But of course, functions or responsibilities are being delegated. So on this function of an operations manager, that doesn't mean that you will be the one to manufacture the actual product or you will become hands-on in the creation of goods and services. So that simply means that the overall, no, the ultimate responsibility, kasi nga operations is in charge with the creation of goods and services, that will be vested on your hands. Lahat ng mga problema na kahaharapin, no, under yan ng operations manager, basta may kinalaman tayo sa area ng operations. Since we're talking about operations manager and his ultimate responsibility for the creation of goods and services, so on my opinion, if you are an operation manager who came from a lower position in an organization, let us say you started off as a factory worker, then you were promoted as a line leader, a supervisor, then became an operation manager, you will become more effective as an operations manager because you know the technical know-how, you know the details of what is really happening in the operations. You have hands-on experiences on the creation of goods and services. Hindi lang theory ang alam mo, hindi lang supervision ang alam mo. So iba kasi kapag yung function mo, yung position mo ay pinagdaanan mo, 'di ba? So alam mo kung ano yung ginagawa ng mga factory workers, Alam mo how it takes to become a foreman, a supervisor, a line leader. Alam mo kung anong nangyayari sa baba. Alam mo kung anong nangyayari sa operations. So, if you will become an operation manager through that process, I guess you will become more effective. Okay, so lastly, I would like to go back here on the functions within the business organization. So I started off my discussion with this, and I will end my discussion with this. So class, the concentration of our course is the area of operations. And then we have to apply, since we are after the quality of our products and services, we have to apply total quality management. So among these different functions within the organization, so sasabihin ko na sa inyo, sa mga major in operations management dito, mabigat ang area ng operations. So this function employs the highest number of employees. Nandito ang mga factory workers natin, nandito ang mga laborers natin, kaya when it comes to the number of employees or workers employed, pinakamataas sa area ng operations. And another one, it employs also, or it requires also the highest amount of capital. Kasi nandyan yung facilities natin, nandyan yung mga machines and equipment natin, nandyan yung mga inputs natin pagdating sa mga materials natin, nandyan yung mga investment natin sa information technology, sa process natin, and of course, the activities that we will conduct in order to make our products or services of a good quality one. So, mabigat at malaki ang sakop ng area ng operations. That's the reason why also sabi ko nga, ang haba na ng discussion for operations management, i-combine pa yung total quality management. Parang nasasayangan ako dun sa mga areas na hindi natin madidiscuss sa operations because we have to congest the discussion into a 3-unit subject 1. Okay, so I do hope that by this time, you have already a concrete idea of our subject matter or of the area of operations. So, palagi nyo lang isipin na kapag may kinalaman sa production ng product or in providing the services, we're talking about the area of operations. So, we'll be having activities on our online class for you to understand better our subject matter. Thank you very much for watching. Please don't forget to comment down after watching the video. God bless and stay safe, everyone.